introducing things and recommending our drink of the day. What is it going to be today?
Do you know what? Someone in the pub last night had a margarita, and I haven't had one of those for a long time. So why not have a margarita? It's Thursday.
Okay, as Status Quo said, it's margarita time. Why don't we do that? Margarita pizza for everybody. Okay, so I need to apologise for today's confession.
Oh, really?
Yes, for reasons that will become very, very obvious.
Okay.
It comes from Gavin. It's family friendly and all that. It's
okay.
The end of the confession feels a very, very long way away.
Okay.
Father Simon and the Confessional Crew. This confession takes me back some 20 years. In fact, after hearing this sorry tale, some listeners should be able to tell you the exact week of 2002 that this relates to. I was working at our local cinema at the time, says Gavin, mainly selling tickets at the box office. During the day, it would be a bit quiet between showings, and we'd often try to find ways to make the time go by more quickly. Reading, chatting, that kind of thing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, at this time, there was a young woman working there who'd spent some years growing up in South Africa.
Oh, yeah!
Although she didn't have any trace of an accent.
Oh, right.
A couple of the staff knew that I, like you, Father Simon, could make passable attempts at accents. No. And possibly partly because she was missing the accent, or out of curiosity to see how well I was able to mimic it, she came to the box office to ask if I would humour her with my attempt. There's an awful lot of this, I'm afraid. We spent a while talking. Occasionally she would tell me slang terms and I would throw them into the conversation. Well, during this time, a couple of guys, quite tall and well-built, the kind of physique you'd expect on a rugby player, that kind of guy, came in. Without a second thought, I turned from the conversation and I asked, "Hi, can I help you, my China?" It was at this point that I realised that I was still in with the South African accent. I was still using the South African accent. Oh, well, never mind, I thought. Maybe they didn't notice, and I'll just use my normal voice next. But this is where things took a turn. Yes, we'd like to see a film, and we wondered which one is nice, said one of them. Actually, in a South African accent, he was South African.
Yeah, yeah.
What would you recommend?
What would you recommend?
Said his mate. Also in a South African accent. Halfway through. As I saw it, I reverted back to my usual accent. As I saw it, if I reverted back to my usual accent, they might see it as me mocking theirs.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to argue with these guys because they were big and they looked as though they could do some damage to me should they choose. I also wondered that if my South African accent didn't pass muster, that a similar angry beefcake scenario may play out, Father Simon. I have to admit that I decided to go on with it and keep up the pretense.
Good, of course you did.
I asked the kind of films that they were looking to go and see, and I gave them a brief description of a couple that I'd enjoyed that week. They bought tickets and they went off to buy drinks and snacks. I think they were too far away to hear it when I let go a huge sigh of relief. After the film had ended, they came out briefly to thank me as they'd enjoyed it, and then they made their way out. Phew. The next day, they came back. So as soon as I saw them in the foyer, luckily with very few other people around, I readopted the South African accent.
No.
They asked me to run through the other films. They made their choice and they went in. Not a lot of dialogue.
No, there isn't.
Once the film had ended, they made a beeline for the box office again. Again, they thanked me for the recommendation and decided to spend a few more minutes having a chat. We weren't expecting to hear our accent all this way from home, one of them said. What is it that brings you to our area? I asked.
Oh, no.
Well, the other one explained. We're playing Scotland this weekend in the rugby.
The rugby?
Because the reason they looked like rugby players was that they were, in fact, actual rugby players.
Yeah.
Not just that, but they were players from the South African rugby union team. They were the Springboks. I wished them well with their game. But said they didn't need to worry. South Africa never has to worry here. We are too strong.
Wow.
What was that?
Where we're going
where
now.
this is going.
Where are we now?
I apologise that they didn't. They were suitably encouraged and left, heads high. However, I feel I might have misled them, and through them, the entire South African rugby team. You see, Scotland took them to the cleaners. Scotland won 21-6. So I feel as I need to take this opportunity to apologise to the entire 2002 South African Rugby Union team. I don't know which two of the players came in that I interacted with, not being much of a rugby fan, but I fear I might have lost them the match. My charade was not intended as mocking. Rather, it was motivated by cowardice at the thought of being on the receiving end of a rugby tackle by two angry rugby players. I hope I can be forgiven. I leave it in your hands and the hands of the hopefully very forgiving listeners. I did my best. What can I say?
Yes.
It's not one of my strong ones.
Really?
Sister
You wouldn't have known.
Susie, thank you. Sister Susie, what do you say to Gavin?
I've got a few things here. What were they doing in the cinema 2 days in a row?
Eating snacks.
Didn't they
Eating
have better
snacks.
things to do?
Yes.
Shouldn't they have been training, getting ready for the match?
Correct.
I kind of don't want to forgive you because I feel like you were a little bit mean, but I did like the accent and it gave me a good giggle. So why not, Gavin? I'll forgive you on this occasion.
I feel exhausted. Brother Matthew.
What would you recommend? I mean, once you've gone down that road, there's no going back. He's absolutely right. Once you'd start with it, there's no way you could then change. Oh, I was just a little joke. Please don't hit me. So yes, definitely forgiven. Well done, Gavin. And please do write in with more confessions involving those kind of accents.
No, I feel as though